Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Her Release. With me, I have my beautiful, amazing 2 co-hosts. We got Riz with the facts and we got Sharice the balance. Hey ladies.
Hey.
What's up? We here.
What up?
What's going on, guys? And guess what? We have our very first guest. I'm so excited to have this first guest to be able to share her story with us. When I tell you, this woman, she has so much wisdom. She is like a ball of joy in my life, and I'm so happy to share her with you, our very first Her, and that's what we call her today for sake of privacy. My lovely Her, how are you doing?
I'm fine, blessed and highly favored. Thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited.
Love you.
We are excited to have you. Before I get into it, I just want to let you guys know that you can go ahead to Instagram right now. If you're not already following us, you can go to men.her on Instagram. Don't worry, pretty soon we'll have more social media platforms for you. But until then, you can go follow us right now on men.her on Instagram. All right, guys, so let's get into it. Our very first topic of today: how easy was it to build your self-esteem? This is a jewel and a world wonder for many women out there. So my very first question to you guys, and I'm not going to choose anybody. Don't wait for me to choose anybody, but I want to know, what is self-esteem to you? What does self-esteem mean to you?
Well, to me, this is Riz with the facts here. To me, self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. You know, how you perceive yourself on the inside and on the outside. That's like
put it together, yeah. Self-esteem has to do with self. It's self-explanatory because it has to do with you. It has to do with how you feel, how you see yourself, and not how others view you. People think it's always about how others see you, but it's not about others, it's about you. So
right.
It's about her.
I would just jump in and say it's just about self-love, like just loving on you, you know? That's what self-esteem is to me. Just what you pour in to you. Oftentimes we pour into others and we kind of sort of forget ourselves. So that's where you start, with loving on you.
Yeah. That's, you see what I mean, guys? I told y'all she's coming with wisdom. We got the balance, we got the facts, and we got wisdom today. I'm so excited, guys. But to me, self-esteem is self-explanatory, as you guys said. The word self in itself means that it's your total responsibility, right? But as much as that is so, does that really happen? So much times we use the word self, but we look for so much of that building up from others. So this is why I wanted to really talk about this, because for me, I am a woman who would have struggled with self-esteem, more or less from the moment my mom passed away and went on till an adult, you understand? And so I would have struggled with this many years. But before we get into my story, I want to know, guys, what has your journey been like for you to build your self-esteem?
Okay, I can. Don't all jump in. Okay, well, I'll start first, seeing as Rissa always goes first. For me, it was a very hard journey. It started for me at a very young age, and I pose this question to somebody already. How do you learn to love yourself? Who teaches you that?
Right.
You know, because we go to school to learn, not so? So therefore somebody has to teach us things. So how do you teach somebody to love themselves? Because it's not something that we all could just learn, right? It's something that's supposed to be kind of taught to us in a way.
Yeah.
By what you tell somebody, how you build somebody, and that's how they will feel. So for me, it started at a young age, and it was only until I was, no lie, in my late 20s, early 30s, that I realized that I needed to love me. I needed
That's
to
where I
forget
am right
about,
now.
yeah, you have to forget about the naysayers and love on you, you know?
That's a
So
fact.
but that takes time. And we as women, we beat down on ourselves because we think as though we're not studying self, you know, we're watching what other people are saying.
Yep.
We're thinking about what society says. We're thinking about what social media says. What is high self-esteem to social media standards and to other people's standards and not to our standards.
Yep. Yep.
And when you throw that away, then you'll understand. That's why I say, even though this is about her, fathers also play an important role in self-esteem with their daughters. Because your father is the one to tell you, baby girl, you're beautiful.
Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing today.
If nobody else loves you, I love you. Look in that mirror, you're smart. So fathers also play a very important role. And in our generation, that wasn't really spoken on or did. So your father wouldn't really hug you and tell you certain things as taboo. Because that didn't happen in their generation. So this generation has to break the curse and raise strong, beautiful, independent Black women.
I love it, but don't go into that yet because we got a part that's coming up for that. Don't talk about the fixing up yet.
No problem.
I want that essence going on. So, I mean, Rest, for you, like, tell me what was your journey like for your building up of your self-esteem?
Well, like Cherie said, you know, she was in her late 20s and I am in my late 20s as well. And I'm actually still on that journey right now. It's only actually this year that I really started believing more positive things about myself because I suffered from a lot of self-esteem issues, you know, in elementary school, junior high school. Like I remember one, and I always laugh about it when I think about it because it's like now that I'm an adult, it's like, y'all used to tease me about that. I used to get teased in elementary school in like 5th grade because I had a big butt. And I will never forget, my sister bought me a pink baby fat 2-piece outfit with a jacket and the pants to match. And you know, when it was a whatever occasion at school, and I used to get to wear that to school, they would really laugh at me. They used to laugh and say that I spoke like a robot and I had a big butt.
Wow.
And it's funny now that I think about it now, but it's like, yo, like the experiences that we go through from young, you know, we don't really realize how much it sticks with us when we get older. And so it's like people would tell me all the time, like, oh my God, you look so good, you're so beautiful, you're this. And I would look in the mirror and not believe what I'm seeing because I'm thinking of all the negative stuff that I would hear. Yeah. And then it's like I would sit there and just like believe all the negativity. So it was only until this year when, obviously with the help of this lovely mentor CEO that we have here, that I was able to do the work to transform my mindset. So it's like, yo, what they think about me does not matter. I have to believe the positive stuff about me in order for me to build my own self-confidence. And now nobody can tell me nothing.
Okay.
I have.
Well, this may sound crazy, but I've never had the experiences that you guys had. Out the gate, I've always had like super high self-esteem. I don't know where I got it from, but it was from birth. Like as far back as I could remember, I was always the life of the party, the it girl, that person that everyone wants to.
Excuse me.
Right. you know what I'm saying? Because I never really cared about what anyone else thought of me. That's just me being very transparent, right? Right. I have a daughter and I raised my daughter the same way. Like I tell her all the time, you're beautiful. So that way you don't need validation from anyone, right? When I look in that mirror, what I see is gorgeous. I see a bad poop. I see everything.
Don't worry, you can say it. You can say it.
That's what I don't care what no one thinks of me. I know that I'm her, that I'm literally her. I'm the it, right?
I love it.
No, I like that.
I love
It's
it.
from,
I love it.
and it goes from, it starts from the way you dress, the way you, I know, like for the people on here who know me, you guys know me. I envision what I want to look like. So when I set that outfit on me, I know I'm about to hurt hearts and about to turn heads. Like that is all of that. Yeah. All
that's
of that
amazing.
That's
is the
true.
pouring.
Not cutting your wisdom, right?
Wow.
While you're in the midst of that, you know, like everything has a root. No matter how much we think that it just happened, it has a root. So my question to you is, where do you think you got that from? Like, I don't know if it's the mom personality, your dad's personality, or somebody was around you that kept building you up. Who was that for you? And my next question is, how did you maintain that mindset?
So I would say essentially it would have come from my dad, right? Because there was something about me that he was trying to protect.
Wow.
So I knew that he's seeing something in me that he just doesn't want it to be unleashed. So I keep tapping into that. I kept daring my dad. So and I could tell you guys, like growing up, like I love short pants, like what we would call in the islands pom pom shorts. Like I just love it, you know. Like I love it, and he's every time I put one on, he catches me in it. He take it off, he burn it right in front of me. Like why he?
Yo,
like
y'all heard this week is a comedian. Just know.
Like I spending my money to look good. Like why is he doing this? But then I started thinking like. Not because I was very thin growing up, very super thin. So I had nobody. They used to call me Olive. So as I started to pull out, I was like, oh, so this is what it is. Like, yeah, I'm coming in like ice cream here now. So this is what he's trying to protect. So that for me, it was just like challenging the status quo always, right? Like, okay, he didn't like this one. Like I keep a. This one had fringe. This one going and has zippers. This I was always reinventing what he hated the most. Until he said, like my stepmom, God rest her soul, you know, it's like she said to me one day, she said, your dad like to see you dress enough, but he just have a problem with his short pants. But he does always think one thing, she could real dress, eh? She does real look nice when she put together. So that was the driver, right? That was the driver for me. It's like, okay, he doesn't want to, as my dad, he doesn't want to give me what's due to me. Like he doesn't want to say that, yeah, you look good. He still want to keep that hold on me, like, well, you're a child and why you have to dress like that going outside, you know? But that was a confidence builder for me.
Wow. So you basically used a negative and turned it into a positive. So that became like your driving force. So that was the root that was like, listen, I don't care what nobody tells me, I'm going to do this. Yeah. That's so how did you maintain that mindset?
Well, growing up, like I said, I always looked at how people would gravitate towards me, either from the way I speak or the way I dress. So it was always a factor that someone wanted to be around me for. So I just felt like I needed to always keep a certain, how to put it, hold myself to a certain standard. So like I come in with the, like I talk a lot of ish because I love to laugh a lot. But in the midst of the ish, like when you see through it, it's like always something positive, right? Like, you're beautiful. Like you don't have to worry about it, especially with the opposite sex, you know? It's like you ain't gotta worry about that. Like this is what you got. You work with that.
So question, because I like this whole high self-esteem from since I small vibes, right? Growing up in a Caribbean home, I heard you say your dad would take your short pants and burn it and all kind. How did you see past that? Because to me, that would have been something negative on my self-esteem. I don't know how Candace or Rista feels, but I would have seen it as something negative. So how did you see past that and maintain this high self-esteem?
I saw past it because I just looked at it from the positive, which was my dad protecting me. You
Okay.
know, it took him a long while to figure out who I was as a teenager growing up, right? So no matter, let me be frank, I could have walked outside in the streets of Trinidad in a brand panty and no one could point their hand in my face because I wasn't doing it for the attention of anyone. I was doing it because that made me feel good. You know what I'm saying? So I never saw it as him like trying to, how to say, well, one was being strict, but not like taken away from who I am. Like I don't know. I told you guys, like I have a very different, I'm set up differently. So I may come across as a rude kid, but it wasn't that. It was just, it was just me, just standing in my truth and holding my own. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, because I know for me, I would have been done. Like I would have been like, no, I can't. That means I can't go out in a short pants. You like me in a short pants. I would have been thinking as
I've been hurt. I'd have been hurt. No, but why?
Yeah, I would have. My heart would have been broken into a million pieces. I would have been like, but why daddy? You know, why daddy? So,
but could I also say that I always had a great self-esteem, but it wasn't always, like when we talking about being transparent, I, as a young girl growing up in the islands, I had like, you know what they used to call bobo? Because I have very sensitive skin. So when mosquitoes bite me, I used to get dark spots like bobo, right? So I used to wear long pants all the time. And my stepmom said to me, you know, if you continue wearing all them long pants, your skin is just going to get fair and the bubble's going to keep getting blacker and blacker. So I had to air my skin out. So that's where,
So the short pants come in.
That's where that came in.
I understand.
So so both parents played like a part in, you know what I'm saying, bringing me to the understanding and then helping me mold and grow.
Right. You see, that's why I said before when we were talking about the beginning of it, the importance of parents and teaching. Because we learn and parents don't understand how you learn.
Yeah.
So from young, they might, because just case in point, my little cousin, she has self-esteem issues. And I was telling her grandmother about it and she was like, that is not an issue. And I'm like,
wow.
But it's because of their generation not understanding how important it is to uplift a child.
Correct.
How important it is to tell a child you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Their generation don't understand the importance of self-esteem and how that could affect your entire adult life.
Right. Or generations. If someone isn't bold enough to break the generational curse and do different, because if my mother's mother never told her she was beautiful, like my mom wouldn't have told that to her daughters and so forth and so forth. So someone needed to break mold and do differently. And still even like a lot of us migrated from the islands and is in the big in a big country as America, still parents have that mindset that they could still not say certain things. They want to be, let's say, I'll just say West Indians. I'll round up. They want to be West Indians and American with a West Indian mentality, and it doesn't work. It at all. It just can't work because we're in a different time, a different place. So we have to. There's a certain amount of give and take. Like you have to have an order to sustain.
Yeah, and that is something that, I wanted to touch on and highlight in this conversation, because for me, whilst I admire you so much, and I would always say to you that I admire that so much about you, and I can relate to what Sharice was saying, that she too wished that she has that, and it has a lot to do with your building up. Because for me, with why I struggled with that for so long, it was the person that used to do it for me left. She's no longer existing on this earth. And then there's no daddy to do that. And everybody else that came after, instead of them building me up, they teared me down. Oh, you're too skinny. Oh, you're too this. And why you want to sing? That's not a career. Why you want to do here? That's not a career. Oh, you're this and you're not smart enough. They told me how I was thinking, how I was feeling. It was just constant, that constantly. Right. And so to me, this is why I was like, listen, this is something that we have to talk about, because if you don't deal with this, if you don't mend this part of you, it can cripple you, and like you said, for generations to come. And this is why I made it my business to now my younger sister, to do that to her, to pour into her, no matter how much times I would see that she's looking at herself as not beautiful, because now I can identify how her reactions are by what I was doing silently. And I would make it my business. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're powerful. And constantly pour that into her, because of what it had done to me. And, not having the dad to build me up, not having, the mom to say, you can fly, you can do whatever it is, you understand? Even if I did something wrong, and that's something I always talk about with my mom and the experience with my mom, like we would get licks, like real licks, bad licks. You understand? I remember at a time, this woman, let me, tell you this story real quick. I don't know what it was that my brother and I did, and it was more him than me, but I used to always get in trouble more because of him, right? And I don't know what we did. So happened she came home, she was angry. Who did it? Nobody want to say, because I'm protective, always protective of everybody. I'm not selling out my brother. So she was like, okay, well, guess what? All of y'all strip naked, go outside. I'm like, her? At this time, I got boobs, I got all the female parts in order. And I'm like, Mom, you're really gonna do that? And this woman was serious. Now, whilst they might say that's abuse and so on now in these times, but that was the obviously passed down, the way they used to handle things. However, when she would do things like that, she wouldn't just do it and leave us to deal with our own feelings. She would do it and have a conversation with us after. So this is the woman that will bust we tail and still come and talk to us. Now I'm vexed because you're talking to me, because you're not busting tail. But I appreciated the fact that you didn't leave me there to make me feel less than for what I did. You explained to me my why and you built me up. Now from 11 years old, that has left. So now you spend your entire life looking for that type of way that somebody could just, help build you up. And then everybody's talking about self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from you. You got to believe in yourself.
Like how? How?
But how?
Well, how am I going to get in that? How?
Exactly. Right. And then on top of that, you live a life as a female, as a woman. You then now are exposed now when you're dealing with the other gender, when they're coming in, you're looking for that in them. You're looking for that validation. You're looking for that esteem building up, and you're not going to get it, because to them it's like, why do I have to do that for you? You're a grown-ass woman. You understand? And it's like, I don't want to be like this. I can't help to be like this, but I help me. You know what I'm saying? And so you're left with dealing with that until you really deal with yourself and say, listen. And that's what I had to do. Listen, it's not going to come from nobody. You understand? So I leaned to my spirituality. And even that, my spirituality was what helped build me up, right? But to me, it's like, well, why is that the only thing? I need to have that for myself. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why I would surround myself around amazing hers like you, that, I used to feel like I could just fly. So not being able to be so close to you is like, it wrecks me, because that support system, that mental support, that example that you would have looked for from a child into an adult is like not there. So you're stuck on your own to try to figure it out.
Figure it out.
But then it's like, what are you going to do? And so I know there's a lot of women out there that, are experiencing these things. And it's so important. I tell my male friends all the time, if you have daughters, you are the first man that she's going to know. You are
Of
the one
course.
that she's going
Of
to
course.
get her
Of course.
self-esteem from. You have to build her up. You have to speak life into her. Tell her you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I don't want no other woman to experience that torment, that trauma. You know what I'm saying? And this is why we're doing this. So for me, my question to you next is, what are the major causes? What do you believe? Besides, I know, Sherry, so this is where I said, put it on pause, because this is where this comes in, right? So to you, like, what do you believe are the major causes for the low and the high self-esteem? We would have touched on it, but I want us to, kind of go into it a little bit more.
Well, the low self-esteem is easy, because you having low self-esteem comes from your environment, what you surround yourself with. Because even though your parents didn't know how to show you or how to teach you how to have self-esteem, who you lining around as a child? Are they uplifting your spirits, or are they bringing you down? So for me, I could talk about me. When I was going to school, I was never skinny. You see how her ball out, she was Olive. I was Popeye enemy name? I can't even remember his name.
Bluto.
I was Bluto, right? I was the opposite of her, right? No, and I can laugh at myself now, because I've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? So I was never the smallest. I'm talking about from primary school all the way up. I was never the smallest one. I was always the tallest, always the thickest. I always look, for my body wise, for my age, I always look a couple of years older.
Yeah.
So for me, I was not essentially bullied, what we will call bullied, but I was treated differently. So not getting the attention from everybody else, not getting the attention from everybody else, but not having to deal with it at home as well.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not getting it from home, I'm not getting it at school. So that's where your lows come from. You're nobody to teach you how and where and why. I coming home to tell mommy, this boy called me so in school, And so what do we, so that's what I said, it's so important for you to serve your environment. And you get your high self-esteem from growing up, the environment too. I remembered a guy asked me, a guy told me, in front of Candace too, because the three of us were having a conversation, and he said, you can't like me because you don't know how to like yourself.
Papa,
and that said,
and
that, no, it didn't lash me in or wrist. It had me thinking.
No, that's what I mean.
I was like,
what I mean,
I was like, who? And I had to sit down and think about it. I was like, and then I had to reapproach the situation. I was like, no, I know what I like because I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
And because I don't want that, I know what I like. But in order for me to know what to like, I also need reinforcement from somebody else. You understand? Because sometimes it's not only, although you want that high self-esteem, it's not about, that journey can't be handled just by you and you alone.
No, it cannot. And people need to know that, because not cutting your wisdom, Russ, but people need to know that, because there is this whole society, like, why do you need to look to people to do that for you? But that's where it's gonna be a support system. That's what support is for. And it doesn't mean that I'm just supporting you financially. You're supporting me in all ways. And that is important too. You know what I'm saying? And that's, like you said, Cherise, having people around you that will see when you're going through that place and say, hey, no, what's that? What you doing there? That's not you. Says you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're powerful. You understand what I'm saying? And tap into that. And we need to have some more of that. You know what I'm saying? Riss, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, a little bit, well, more recently, social media is a problem for a lot of lows, right?
Yes.
You see all of these people with these, fake lifestyles. They have fake tits, fake butts. You understand? Everybody plastered with makeup. Everybody has wigs on, weaves, all of this stuff. So it's like somebody who already doesn't have a good self-esteem, they're looking at that like, oh, I need to look like this in order to get the people to like me. Because when we think about it, we think about Facebook, we think about Twitter, we think about Instagram. Everything is about a like, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you put up a picture and you don't get as much likes as somebody else that has a fake body or a naturally,
feel less than.
or like have naturally, big butt. I don't want to say big body parts, but have naturally voluptuous body parts. So it makes you feel away because it's like, I don't have what they have, so people are not gonna like me because of that. And then because of that, people tend to want to change themselves, go and do plastic surgery, and some people will do it the healthier way. They work out. Shout out to y'all. But they do it because speaking from existence myself, it's like I don't believe in plastic surgery, but I know I want my body to look a certain type of way because I think it looks good. At a certain point in time before I was working out, I'd be like, damn, like this girl's stomach is a mad flat, bro. Like, if she looked mad good, I need to be like that. But it's like people look at that like, oh my gosh, I need to go under the knife. I need to go spend thousands of dollars, whatever. So
I think like that. I could.
Girl, no.
Let's talk about the reason why they do it. Let's talk about the reason why.
So the reason why it's like, all right, they themselves, these people who have, who have gotten all of these surgeries, that's because they have suffered from self-esteem issues themselves.
Yes.
They're not comfortable with if they have small boobs, if they have a smaller butt, if they don't have no butt at all. It's okay. But there's not a lot of people out here telling them that it's okay to be how you are, the way you are, period.
Although these persons are doing all of this, it still doesn't give you what you're looking for because it's something that comes from within. It's not it's so much deeper than the appearance. For me, I would hear every day, oh my goodness, you have such a great personality, right? So that is what it is. It's the personality. It's not the love. No one says to you like, your face is so gorgeous. Your lower body is so gorgeous. No. You understand what I'm saying? They just say people gravitate to personality. And then with the notice of the personality, then they realize like, oh my goodness, you have beautiful eyes. You got pretty eyes. Oh my goodness, your teeth. Like you have nice teeth. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you went to Mattel, and for those who don't know who Mattel
not
is,
Mattel.
Who does build Barbies? You understand? The people who does build Barbies.
You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you.
You can't fix your personality. It doesn't fix personality.
And I would even take it a stretch further. Like from your neck down, you're tight, you're looking right, and your face like a chihuahua. That's not making sense. Make sense.
Wow.
No, but I was actually going to say that my cousin is Generation Z. That's what they call the new generation, right?
Yes.
And I remember a day we went for either lunch or dinner, me, her, and her next friend. Now, celebrities do this. Celebrities have two profiles. One that their close family could see and one that everybody else could see.
A finsta.
A finsta.
The right terms.
These two young ladies have finsta pages and regular pages. Now, I'm confused by this because you are no celebrity. You are no Kim Kardashian. You are no Chloe.
But
what
anybody
are you doing?
have a finsta,
right?
Right.
I don't have no finsta. And so they posted a picture on the regular profile, and they are sitting down discussing likes. So I was literally taken aback. I was like, y'all care about how many likes y'all get on our picture?
Correct. Correct.
Yes. Sharice, how you mean? She can't get more likes than me. And I was speechless. I was like, this is
that's a real thing. It's a real thing. I feel like we're gonna have to have a whole topic on just social media and how it affects
I had to give
society-wise.
I had to give them validation that, listen, you don't need strangers or people who don't even care about you,
people who don't know you,
who don't know you, to click a like button. If you are going around in this world looking for likes on an Instagram photo, you are not living your life and your best life at that.
Sad.
And that's why we are needed even now, whilst Generation Z has that, for us to do that. But let's turn this around a little bit. So we're talking about the woman that does have that, issue in terms of the low self-esteem. Let's talk about the woman that has an extremely high self-esteem and the negative connotations that come along with that. You know what I'm saying? A woman who's, considered conceited because she knows about herself. Let's talk about the negative attachments with that, because that is also a thing too. So it's like, where do you find a balance? How do we get to that balance?
Could I take this?
Yes, go right ahead.
So
yes, sir.
I would put myself and I have some acquaintances and friends who have the same mentality, right? One of the key factors is independence. That the independence ties hand in hand with your self-esteem, right? So this would take you to that plateau, right? Of the negative that comes with that is, and I was told once before by an older gentleman, very handsome gentleman, says to me, he says, let me tell you something about you. You know what's the problem? Why you would never get a mister? Because I shared I was going through something like separation. And I shared that with him, just like trying to get, like picking his mind around. And he said to me, you would never get a good man because you just exude you don't need a man.
Wow.
I was like, well, how? He said, because you're and this was the list. He said, you're already a good looking woman, right? You're independent. What do you need someone for, right? People are already, he said, intimidated. Persons are already intimidated to approach me just by my demeanor, right? Because I don't.
You quick to tell off.
Walk in the room and shut it down.
Right. And all of us here, we could say, who's sitting here, we have what they would call a face, right? I've been told from little, I have a visa face. I never knew what it meant. Because in the islands, people are coming from the stupidest thing. You have a visa face. What does that even mean? You can go anywhere. What?
You can go anywhere. You can get it anywhere.
I just get it right through.
Right. But is it true? It isn't true. Because if that was doing something for me, I wouldn't have experienced heartbreak. I would have never, you know what I'm saying? So I think on a deeper level as to what matters to some doesn't really matter to the person who's living it, right? So you could sit there and look at me and say, well, like, yeah, that's a real good looking dark skinned woman. She real independent. She does hold she own. I never see she slipping or whatever. But you don't know as much as the high esteem is in me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is a percentage of you that questions, what is it even good for? You understand?
Right. That's deep. Oh, I love that. We gotta come up. Y'all giving me some topic ideas. We gotta do this whole topic on all of that, what you're talking about, being strong and independent and dealing with the negative things that come along with this. And it's just about finding balance, right? I think so. We're definitely gonna do a part 2. But for time's sake, right? Let's get into I was not about to say, let's get into some facts. And then after that, we're going to talk about some advice that we can leave to the hers that are listening, that are going through, the self-esteem issues, that may have, reached maturity in their age, but they're still suffering and they want to mend. They don't know how to, they don't know where to begin because they would have dealt with loss. They would have dealt with suffering. Sometimes it's because maybe the trauma existed in your life early on, so that you would have had a hard time sifting your way through to figure it out and find that sense of wholeness. So we're definitely going to do a part 2. But rest with the facts. Let's hear some facts before we start to close out with this little that fact stuff. Go ahead.
All right. So we have some statistics here. The first one is from the National Report on the State of Self-Esteem. I didn't even know that was a thing. But They say 7 in 10 girls believe they are not good enough or do not measure up in some way, including their looks, performance in school, and relationships with family and friends. 74% of girls say that they are under pressure to please everyone.
Those numbers are really high. That's scary. Those numbers are so high.
98% of girls feel there is an immense pressure from external sources to look a certain way. Hello, social media. 92% of teen girls would like to change something about the way they look, with body weight ranking the highest. 90% of eating disorders are found in girls.
Yep.
1 in 4 girls today fall into a clinical diagnosis: depression, eating disorders, cutting, and other mental or emotional disorders. And on top of these, many more report being constantly anxious, sleep deprived, and under significant pressure. Says that by age 13, 53% of American girls age 13 are unhappy with their bodies. And it grows to 78% by the time the girls reach 17.
Wow.
Those numbers are scary.
Yep.
And it's real. So with hearing the statistics, we know that there is a cause and there is also a place to heal. There's also a way and a road to your healing. So before we give, the end all of what you should do, from me, your life coach, I want to hear from you ladies. What advice can you give for that her that is seeking to mend and build her self-esteem? Go right ahead.
So I could start with what worked for me, other than surrounding yourself with people who actually lift you up. Affirmations really worked for me. I would stand in front of my mirror and say things like, you are beautiful, you are talented, you are smart, you are intelligent, you're bomb as fuck. Like all of this, I would say all of this to myself in front of a mirror. And even though at first when I started doing, I wasn't necessarily believing them, but making it a habit and doing it every day, I was able to actually like just say it like regularly, like I'm it, I'm lit, I'm beautiful, I'm all this. So that definitely helped me. So I that helped me to change my entire mindset.
Nice. And our balance, Sharice?
For me, watch your environment. Watch who you place around you. Watch who you have in your air. Because regardless of how we say itself, you always second guessing yourself. And if you always have people around you that puts in that second guess in your head, you will never get to where you're truly supposed to be. So watch your environment, do your affirmations, as Rissa say, and focus on you. Because once you good, everything else will be good. And to our fathers who may be listening, who people are listening when they hears listening, lift your girl children, break that generational curse, and start letting your girl children know they are beautiful, they are smart, they could be anything they want to be, and they don't need anybody to make them feel any way, because they're them for a reason.
Amen. Husbands and boyfriends too. And
husbands and boyfriends
what's
too.
your final advice?
I would piggyback on everything that Rissa and Cherie said, but I will also say it's about ownership, right? you have to own what's for you. Your self-esteem belongs to you. Yes, we, to some point, to an extent, we will depend on people who's like-minded, right? How do we, like Cherie said, surround yourself? It's a, you know how they used to say it takes a village to raise a kid, right? It's the same, right? But in adulthood, it's just like that balance, like having people who's just as like-minded as yourself. Because if I'm talking about, yeah, well, this is where I want to be in 5 years, in 10 years or whatever, and you still telling me about a shoes that Christian you all have coming out in the spring, then we're not on the same level. You understand what I'm saying? So that is super, that's important. And like I say, just own it. You know what I'm saying? The affirmations work, the surrounding yourself with like-mindedness work, but that ownership piece, like you gotta, right? You gotta, yeah. I want this for me. I'm to what Rissa said. I'm a badass. I got this. I'm lit as shit. Like, who's better than me? I'm her. I'm her. What's up?
What's up? I love it. On period. That's amazing. Period. Guys, this is amazing. And there are a number of ways in which we can improve our self-esteem. Our hers out there, if you're listening, I'll just give you a few. First of all, stop trying to be so nice to everyone. The first strategy on how to build your self-esteem is to be firm and strong. People respect strong, tough women more than the nice girl. You don't even have to be evil and bossy. You just have to be able to refuse and request with confidence. Secondly, as Riz with the Facts said, affirmations. Affirmations work if you're consistent. Affirmations to be yourself. Now, I know it can be hard to love yourself after lifelong self-hatred, trauma, or wherever you've been in your childhood, even into adulthood, but it can be done. Everyone wants to hear words of prayers, gratitude, and encouragement. My advice to you, give it to yourself. And last but not least, work on yourself every single day. One of the most important steps towards building self-esteem is to work on growing yourself every day. Pour into yourself. If you need to go for a walk, go for a walk. Read a book, listen to a podcast, especially her release, and dedicate some time and effort to learning more about a new topic, or work out. Do some physical, health. Work on your physical health, your eating, whatever it is that you need. Go ahead and heavy on the workout. That's right. You go ahead and serve your body and your mind. And I said last but not least before, but this is going to be the special one. Be there for one another. It's important that we are there as support system, and it's not about where we are, we no longer need. We need support. We need that love and encouragement. So be that for whoever is in your circle, whoever hers you have, your daughters, your son's girlfriends, your mom, even your mom. And you're never too young to be able to be in a position to inspire. Be that for someone. So guys, I thank you so much for joining us on our episode 2 of Her Release. We talked about one of the cliche things that happens and nobody really wants to deal with, but it's real. And we're going to come back with a part 2, and stay tuned for our next episode. Episode 3. Y'all ready, guys? And hopefully we get our her. She is here with us. We're so grateful. Hopefully we get her as a co-host, but we'll work on that, guys, right? This woman of wisdom. So I thank you guys so much. Riz with the Fact, Cherise the Balance, and our first guest, our first her. We thank you guys for listening in. Stay tuned for our next episode 3. We love you. We're out. Peace.
Bye.
Don't forget to like, follow, and share on our Instagram at men.her right now on Instagram. Bye, guys.